Well, um, we have here the Mohawk, and the Mohawk came out of a situation with Leon, our dear friend. Leon. And he was going to build a K5, and he wanted a tender for the K5. And so I built him a tender and I sent it to him, and he said, in 3D printing, right? And he said, I can't use that, Dennis. I just simply cannot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tender for you. You can use it. But now what I want you to work on this engine. Okay. And so I had sent him this, I think, and he painted it really nice. But he couldn't use the tender I had. I made one out of 3D. It was my first one, and it was really bad. Now that I look back on it, I feel embarrassed. But anyway, so this was a model that he made. He gave me. I tried to make this. It was a terrible job. Okay, so no, I want this. I want that. Okay, fine. And then in between, I got into the Royal Blue, and we made the Royal Blue Three Amigos with that tender, which was altogether a different animal. But that tender really came out well because of the lessons I learned on screwing this tender up. But I always had a bad feeling that we did not have a K5 tender because I've got 10 of these bodies and no tenders. So I thought, I really need a tender. So I took a frame off of or the chassis, I should say, off of another engine. What I took it off? Oh, this engine or the Royal Blue? I think it was this engine. At any rate, I had these chassis plates, and I modified them so they fit into this chassis. So now I had the basis of that chassis. Then I took the Royal Blue chassis. Turn off my light. There we go. I took the Royal Blue chassis, made a copy of it. You can do that. I made a copy of it, and I brought it over here, and I shrank it down to fit these chassis plates. Now, it was straight, so this afternoon I've been putting on these raised pieces for the coal load. So what I have now, and then I decided to fit it with two-wheel tenders because that's really, about the size of it. This is not a monster, right? See, there's the six wheels behind there. They work. Six wheels on this would be too many, so I'm going to do the two-wheel or four-wheel, two-axle, which I have somewhere. And if I don't, I can make more. I can do that. So at any rate, now I have the two-wheel tender trucks. I have the body that is very similar to the one I had, which I printed all in one piece. Okay? And I was going to measure that. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. It's about 175 millimeters. And if you can't do that, it's about 7 inches. So we're going to try to turn this with that. Now the lid, you see, is going to be unique because the lid is just going to be water back here and then a coal load here. So it's going to be the same concept where you have the body, a lid, the two chassis glue together, bolt on, and then the trucks and then the guts. There you go. And there's the guts. The guts are going to be smaller, right? So don't have a lot of room. I'm trying to put the fan in because I'm learning these TIP chips that we use get hot. I mean, that's just the end of the game there. I talked to Robert about it. There are some other chips we're going to look at. We're going to try to get some reasonable heat sinks, but it's just hard to get those chips to run cool. And so anyway, we're going to work on that. We're going to start printing this tomorrow, I think, the first one for test, and fit it together, build some trucks. And I'm going to try to put that, not use this. I mean, I could, but I will maybe later. But I'm going to use that tender, use this for the dimensions and whatnot in the detail, and try to build this engine up and use the newer parts that are coming. So that's the plan. That's where I'm at. This one has old smoke It has a gear, and it has the new DC fields. So it may or may not have a steam whistle. Okay, it will use the mechanical chuff for now, and and our trucks, all-wheel pickup trucks, and all that good stuff. Oh, and another point towards the end of this day I want to make is I have printed a brand new smoke piston. If anybody needs a smoke piston, we print them now. And I also have made a heavy duty, mostly for somebody who breaks them. Well, I broke one, and Rodney broke one. But there's a more beefy connector bar. Focus, baby. He doesn't like to it. Okay, that's it. And it screws up to it. There's a lot more, a lot more metal, a lot more plastic, right? And the gear that I was working on works, but I'm having a fabrication problem with the inner lining for it. I can get a ball bearing on a plastic smoke gear, and it works. So if you have an engine that needs a smoke gear, and then you don't have a piston. If you don't have a smoke system, then we would do our 3D smoke system. I don't think I can print a vintage smoke system. I don't think that would be feasible. But, I mean, I'm just not in the mood. I could, but I don't want to. All right, enough of that. So we got the makings now. Here's my plan. What I want to do is put the lid on and put the simulated co-load and take the chassis, the trucks, and the body empty tender, and sell that. If anybody needs a tender, I know I need tenders for my K5, but this could be a tender for, you could do the Atlantic, be a longer one for the Atlantic. It would work perfect for the Pacific, the Chicago Northwest, or the 290, right? So it's a good looking tender. I mean, it will be. And so there. And then the other one I have, the Royal Blue Three Amigos tender, we have that. But you know what? I think I'm going to look at this real hard here and build another one of these in that shape. Because if you look at it, he took all of the K5 stuff in the front and put it in the front. So if I mimic this as a front end, I've got it. Now I can build this extended range. I have a Mohawk tender, right? Or a Northern. That could be a Northern. It could be a Hudson extended range. I don't know. It seems like I'm going into the tender business for a couple of days, I think. Meanwhile, I'm not retiring this old dog. I'm not retiring my 10S Pro with all these mods and all these things done to it, but he's going to get a little brother right over here in a week or two. I'm going to have a second printer, and it will be smaller. It'll be different. It's going to be a box, and it's going to have a much smaller print surface. But it can print 220 millimeters long. If I hold that out long enough, you can see it. And that's enough for the tenders. Not so much for the bodies, but for the tenders. And if I do print bodies, I can print the bodies on this big guy here. And I'm using this one mostly for R&D testing. But this other one I'm going to be using, because now it's going to be updated, a lot smoother, faster, more reliable, more accurate, all the blah, blah, blah. It will be able to print out the gears, these parts, the side frames, the little parts, the smoke house, the smoke housing. It can print all of that out, firewalls. really fast and accurate and smooth. That's what I'm going to use it for. It's going to be more or less the production printer for the parts. And then I'll use this one for playing. So if someone orders something, I can be printing those parts out. I'm still going to be able to use this. That's the plan anyway. And I'm going to move into tenders. I think we can do tenders. I think we could do tenders as a kit, and they're empty. I could even leave out all the holes. You guys just drill holes where you need them. I could do that. We could use, in fact, you could use flyer trucks if you really wanted to, but we can change the side frame real easy. We can design different side frames. Look at the trains. I have books and models and stuff about what various trains are out there and what did they do differently. That just gave me another idea. We have not made a switcher. Mr. Lynn Bloom. We need a small wheelbase 4-axle chassis. Put that on your list. Okay, I gotta run. I hear footsteps. I know I'm gonna get yelled at in 30 seconds. Talk to you later. Bye.